Jasmine's legs gave out right outside the mansion gates. One moment she was walking toward the car, the next she was on her knees, palms scraping gravel, vision blurring. Security rushed forward. Madame Unsuk screamed. And then she heard it, Jinwon's voice, raw with terror. Jasmine. No, no, someone call an ambulance. She tried to speak but couldn't. Her body had finally said enough. Ambulance lights flooded the driveway. Sirens wailed. And through it all, Jinwon's hand gripped hers like she was already slipping away. She survived his hunger. But loving him was now killing her. If this story already has your heart racing, tap like, because what comes next changes everything. At Hamir General Hospital, doctors ran tests while Jinwon paced the corridor. When Dr. Cho emerged 3 hours later, his face was grim. Her body is shutting down from prolonged stress. Severe emotional exhaustion. She's been suppressing pain so long her nervous system is collapsing. Fix it, Jinwon demanded, voice shaking. Whatever it costs. Mr. Seo, this isn't something money fixes. Your wife isn't sick. She's empty. Completely empty. The words hit like a physical blow. Jinwon staggered back. What does that mean? It means she's been giving everything until there's nothing left. She needs rest. Real rest. And she needs to remember who she is outside of taking care of you. When Jasmine woke, she was alone in the white hospital room, for in her arm, a nurse came in with discharge papers and one sentence that stayed with her. The doctor said you haven't asked yourself what you want in months. Maybe it's time you did. Jasmine stared at the ceiling. When was the last time she'd thought about herself? Her dreams? Love had turned into endurance. Marriage had turned into management. And somewhere along the way, she'd completely disappeared. The ride home was silent. Jinwon kept glancing at her like she might shatter. She stared out the window, numb. When they arrived, she didn't go upstairs. She stood in the foyer and turned to face him. We need to talk. Right now. He froze. Are you leaving? I don't know yet. But I need you to hear me. Really hear me. They sat across from each other in the living room. No touching. No closeness. Just brutal honesty. I feel watched, Jasmine said quietly. Every second of every day. Like if I'm not close enough, you'll unravel. Like I'm responsible for your peace, your stability, your entire emotional state. Jinwon flinched. I don't mean to. I know. But it's still happening. She looked at him. Tell me the truth. When do you panic the most? He hesitated. When you're asleep. When you leave a room. When you're quiet too long. When you don't answer your phone immediately. And what do you feel? Hollow. Terrified. Like I'll lose you if I'm not vigilant. Jinwon, I haven't left this house in 2 weeks without security trailing me. I haven't spent a night away from you since the island. I take pills to keep my energy up. I smile when I'm exhausted. I've become your anchor, and it's drowning me. His face crumpled. I thought I was better. I thought the treatment fixed me. It fixed the hunger, she said softly. But you replaced it with something else. Emotional dependence. I'm not your wife anymore. I'm your life support system. Silence stretched between them. I don't know how to stop, he whispered, voice breaking. I don't know how to love you without needing you. Then we need to figure it out together. Because I can't keep doing this. I love you, but I'm disappearing. The next morning, everything spiraled worse. News broke online. Velix Biosolutions leaked fragments of Jinwon's old research, twisted and sensationalized. Headlines screamed about unethical drug testing. Investors panicked. The board called emergency meetings. And then his mother arrived. Mrs. Seo Myung swept into the mansion like an ice storm. She walked straight into the living room where Jasmine sat drinking tea. This is what happens when you marry beneath your station, Mrs. Seo said, not looking at Jasmine. Scandals. Weakness. Public collapse. Mother, don't start, Jinwon began. She's not strong enough for this family, Jinwon. Look at her. Hospitalized. Fragile. Breaking. The other wives at least had the dignity to leave quietly. Jasmine stood slowly. I'm still here. Mrs. Seo turned, eyes sharp. For how long? You think love will sustain you? Love has always cost women their identity in this family. My mother gave everything and died bitter. I gave everything and became hollow. The wives before you gave until there was nothing left and ran. Then maybe, Jasmine said quietly, the problem isn't the women. Maybe the problem is what this family demands of them. Mrs. Sio's smile was bitter. You're right. The problem is that we stay. And if you leave now, it will destroy him. So choose carefully. Your freedom or his life. She left, and Jasmine felt the trap close. Stay and lose herself. Leave and carry guilt forever. That night, Jean Wan tried to hold her, and she pulled away. I can't, she whispered. Jasmine, please. Every time you touch me, I feel it. The need. The fear. The weight of keeping you whole. I love you, but I'm suffocating. He stepped back, hands shaking. Tell me what to do. I'll do anything. I don't know. Her voice broke. I don't know how to save you without dying. She walked to the window. I'm terrified of becoming another erased woman. Another story people whisper about. The fourth wife who lasted a little longer, but still disappeared. Jean Wan stood frozen, and for the first time, he truly saw her. Not as his anchor, not as his salvation, but as a woman breaking under the weight of his need. I'm so sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry for what I've done to you. Sorry doesn't fix this. The silence was devastating. Then Jean Wan did something Jasmine never expected. He let go. I'm going to therapy, he said quietly. Real therapy. Not just medical management. Actual psychological help to deal with my attachment issues, my fear, my control. Jean Wan. And I'm giving you space. Real space. No security following you. No checking in every hour. No tracking. No panic when you're not in my sight. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Because if I truly love you, I have to let you breathe. Even if it terrifies me. Even if every instinct screams at me to hold tighter. He walked toward the door, stopped. You're free to leave, Jasmine. Completely free. And I will survive. Even if it hurts. Even if it breaks me. I'll survive. Because you deserve more than being someone's emotional lifeline. You deserve to be loved, not needed. He left her standing there, stunned. The next morning, Jasmine packed a bag. Not everything. Just essentials. Jean Wan was in his study when she came to say goodbye. I'm staying at a hotel in the city for a while, she said. I need to remember who I am without you. He nodded, eyes red but dry. How long? I don't know. Will you come back? I don't know that either. He didn't beg, didn't plead. Just said, thank you for telling me the truth. She left. Days passed. Then a week. Then 2. Jasmine rented a small apartment, enrolled in art classes, started teaching English online. For the first time in months, she breathed without measuring it, laughed without wondering if he heard, slept without checking if he was okay, made decisions based solely on what she wanted. She painted. She explored cafes alone. She made friends who knew nothing about Seo Jean Wan. She built a life that was entirely hers. But she also missed him. Not the need. Not the intensity. Not the suffocating dependence. Just him. His quiet mornings. His rare smiles. The way he listened like her words mattered. The gentleness underneath all the fear. She missed choosing him. Which was different from needing him. Meanwhile, Jean Wan kept his word. Therapy 3 times a week. He stopped calling. Stopped checking her location. Started journaling, meditating, learning to sit with discomfort instead of filling it with her presence. It hurt. God, it hurt like nothing ever had. Worse than the hunger. Worse than the treatment. But he did it anyway. 3 weeks after she left, Jasmine received a letter. Handwritten. His messy scrawl. I'm learning that love isn't holding on tighter. It's knowing when to open your hands. You were right. I was consuming you. I'm working on becoming someone who can love without taking. Someone worthy of your choice, not your sacrifice. No pressure. No timeline. Just truth. I'll be here if you ever want to come home. She cried reading it. Not from sadness. From relief. From hope. For weeks after she left, Jasmine stood outside the mansion gates, heart pounding. Not because she had to. Because she wanted to. Jinwon opened the door, and for a moment, they just looked at each other. Different. Changed. Whole. Hi, she said softly. Hi. I missed you. I missed you too. I'm not coming back the same, she warned. I have my own life now. My own space. My own dreams. Good, he said steadily. I don't want you to shrink for me ever again. And if I need to leave again, then you leave. And I'll still be here. Your freedom matters more than my comfort. She stepped inside. Not into a cage. Into a home. They rebuilt everything. The cage room was permanently sealed. Jasmine kept her apartment in the city as her studio, taught 3 days a week, created art that had nothing to do with him. She reconnected with old friends, made new ones, rediscovered parts of herself she'd forgotten existed. Jinwon learned intimacy without possession, patience without panic, love without consumption. He practiced sitting with his anxiety instead of demanding her constant presence. He built friendships, invested in hobbies, created an identity separate from their relationship. Some nights she stayed at her place. Some nights he came to her. Some nights they stayed at the mansion together, cooking dinner side by side. They learned to miss each other without fear. To want without desperately needing. To love without erasing themselves. One evening months later, they sat in the garden under string lights, her head on his shoulder, his hand loosely, not desperately, holding hers. The night was warm, peaceful. Do you ever get scared I'll leave? She asked quietly. Sometimes, he admitted honestly. But then I remember, you stayed because you chose to. Not because you were trapped or obligated or needed. You chose me freely. That's worth more than any cage could ever hold. She smiled, squeezed his hand gently. You're learning. We both are. Every single day. I'm proud of us, she whispered. For choosing the hard way. For not settling for comfortable dysfunction. Me too, he said, kissing the top of her head. Me too. The mansion's doors stayed unlocked now. Always unlocked. Jasmine came and went freely, without asking permission or offering explanations. They built separate lives that beautifully, intentionally overlapped. 2 whole people choosing each other, every single day, without losing themselves in the process. They learned that real intimacy required space. That true love meant freedom. That the strongest bonds were the ones you could walk away from but chose not to. What began as survival became choice. What began as hunger became restraint. What began as a cage became love. Real love. Free love. Healthy love. The kind that doesn't break you to keep you. The kind that says, I love you and you're free to go in the same breath. If this story touched you, hit that subscribe button and tell us in the comments, would you have left or stayed? What does healthy love look like to you? And don't forget to like this video. Sometimes the greatest act of love is letting go. Thanks for being here until the very end.